And joining us on the line now is Michael Steele, former lieutenant governor of the state of Maryland, former chairman of the RNC. Good morning to you, Michael. How are you?
Hey, good morning, Brian. How you doing, man?
All right, so now you've been the chairman of the RNC, and if you were the chairman of the RNC, as Reince Priebus is, and you had said it's time for us to get behind Donald Trump, and then you heard the Speaker of the House in an interview say something like this. Take a listen.
You have said throughout this process that you will support the Republican presidential nominee. Now you have a presumptive nominee, Donald Trump. Will you support him?
Well, to be perfectly candid with you, Jake, I'm just not ready to do that at this point. I'm not there right now. And I hope to, though, and I want to.
Well, I mean, how would you react if your Speaker of the House had done that after you had called for party unity?
I mean, I would not be happy. So, because the goal at this stage, once you make it clear that this is the guy that we're going to get behind and move forward, you got to get everyone behind him and move forward. On the other hand, I do understand the hesitancy that people have who don't know Trump, who only know him from what they've seen and heard so far. Reince talked about the two of them, the Speaker and Trump, getting together next week. That would be something I would highly encourage, because the goal now is to get, you don't have a lot of time between now and Cleveland. So you want to go into Cleveland as unified as you possibly can be. There will be some outliers. There will be some stragglers, and there will be some people who actually won't even participate in the process, as both President Bushes have announced. That's okay. I get that. But everybody else, if the goal here is to stop Hillary Clinton, not stop Donald Trump,
right, then
you've got to get the team in place to do that. And those type of comments delay the process. Doesn't make it, necessarily more difficult. At this point, just delays it.
Michael Steele, listen, I agree with you on a lot of what you just said, but let me just ask you a question. I mean, isn't Paul Ryan reflecting what probably the majority of Republicans are feeling right now? I mean, this has been an extraordinary process, starting with 17 candidates. Donald Trump absolutely has secured the nomination, but more Republicans have voted against him than for him. What is wrong with saying, okay, he's the nominee and congratulations, but if you want my support, you need to earn my vote. Tell me why I should support you. What's wrong with that?
No, there's nothing wrong with that, and I absolutely agree with that, and I understand why a lot of people have that position. But now becomes a question of how does this work? Look, Donald Trump has to come to Washington, like, Mr. Smith goes to Washington. Donald Trump has to come to Washington. But also Washington has to come to Donald Trump. This cannot be a one-way street. The expectation in this town cannot be you come to us and basically make us happy, and then we'll decide if we will join your effort. It's got to be, let's get together and figure out that sweet spot where we both can be somewhat happy, because they're not going to be completely happy with Donald Trump.
Yeah.
He is not their kind of candidate. He's a populist, conservative, Democrat, Republican. I mean, it's this amalgam of stuff.
But I just want to say, and listen, I'm not anti-Trump by any stretch of the imaginations. I'm just trying to keep it, we keep it real with you, Michael Steele.
Yes,
and
indeed.
This entire process, Donald Trump, every time his back was against the wall or he felt he wasn't getting support from Washington, he said, if they're not going to treat me fairly and be nice to me, I'm out of here. I'm going to go third party. He spent his whole time doing that, and now you've got Republicans saying, okay, well, it's time for you to be nice to us or we're going to bolt. To me, that's fair play.
Well, the question is, what does nice to us mean? We know what Donald Trump's nice to us means. It means, don't trash me, don't talk smack about me.
Yeah.
Paul Ryan defined what it means. Paul Ryan said, show me what your conservative principles are.
Okay, I don't think you can line 10 conservatives up and get 12 definitions of what their conservative principles are.
All right, well, that's fair. Especially talk show hosts.
Yeah, well, I get all that. But, a lot of people who support Donald Trump, we've had some of them on the air this morning already. They are not happy with Speaker Ryan. And what, if the Donald is out there saying, I'm not going to be an establishment Republican and I'm going to be an outsider, and now he has to go to Washington and sort of bow down before the other establishment, establishment Republican in the party, the Speaker of the House, the highest ranking, elected official that we have in the party, doesn't that sort of damage his brand a little bit to have to bow down and kiss the ring of Paul Ryan?
But Donald Trump is not going to do that. So can we all be clear about that? He's not going to come to Washington and kiss anybody's ring. Trust me on that one. But that's Brian. You put your finger on the core piece here, though. Yeah, you can talk about all these other Republicans voted against Donald Trump, but Donald Trump dispatched with 9 governors, 5 senators, and went through a doctor and the businesswoman. So he has gone through the gauntlet that has been established by the establishment. He did what everybody expected him to do. You go in, you compete, you either win or lose. So now for him to come to Washington and be expected to, just wholesale take on their agenda and do as they want him to do, that's not going to happen. What these two parties have to decide is, how can we accommodate each other? How can we work together? Because trust me, at the end of the day, Donald has a greater force behind him than Paul Ryan has behind him.
All right.
That's the reality of it.
Michael Steele, you are an old hand at Republican politics, and I suspect over the course of many years, candidates have called you and asked for advice. What do you think I should do about this? So, if Team Trump calls you and says, listen, we got a problem with Latinos and we got a problem with women, all the polls show that, and we got to fix this to win the national election, what's your advice?
Well, it's a little bit complicated because the pile is deep, and it's going to take a lot to really clear a lot of that out. But I think if Donald Trump now, if he said he would throughout the campaign, make that effort to show, how what he's talking about translates into policy, what that means for these communities that are clearly offended by what he has said throughout this campaign, he can begin to turn some of that corner. Look, he is not going to secure the Latino vote. He's not going to get a majority of the vote. What he's got to do now is mitigate the damage. He's got to figure out how he speaks to the community, and particularly that part of the community that agrees with his idea that we should secure our borders and prevent illegal immigration. Because that is an important part for them as well.
Just a moment or two left. Literally, we're running out of time. What vice presidential running mate would help unify the party?
I don't have a specific name, although I do like Susana Martinez and Governor Christie. I think a governor helps him more than anything else because someone who's actually had to govern, work with a legislature, I think that type of person could be very helpful.
All right. Listen, thank you very much. And we appreciate you, Michael Steele, for joining us.
How about a former lieutenant governor and former chairman of the Republican Party? Maybe an African-American. Maybe he's somebody who's well known to the MSNBC crowd. Maybe Michael Steele should be the running mate. Trump Steele. Trump Steele.
Oh, there we go. Good night. Don't forget to tip you later.